right, welcome back.
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for coming to work today.
Yeah, you too.
I have a new week in review notebook.
Hey.
I mean, it's recycled. Someone gave it to us, but yeah.
Nice.
For the next decade. There's plenty of pages, so we can fill it with
great update.
All kinds of anecdotes.
Yep.
So today is the 23rd. My son's birthday is tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Ethan, yeah.
Yep.
21. Mm-hmm. I asked him if he wanted a small glass of wine last night.
He's not 21
dinner,
yet, Chip.
And he said, no, thank you, Papa. And I said, if I ask you next week at this time, and he said, I'll probably take you up on it. He's such a good human being, such a rule follower. So
just like his dad.
Yeah, 36 hours, and he wouldn't have half a glass of wine. Yeah, so welcome back. Been a big week, right? Mm-hmm. Thank you to everyone who came and contributed to two very detailed and important public meetings this week with the City Council at the very least. And then we had a meeting last night, TMC hosted meeting that Mr. Barron introduced. So yeah, it's been great. So thanks for everyone. We went to the annual Public Works barbecue for Public Works Week yesterday, and just a shout out to Public Works. They are part of public safety. Mm-hmm. They do a great job, and they're intrepid. And again, as we often say, Brandon, when we've got an ugly storm or something's broken, they are as first responders.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Public Works, for everything that you do. And Ken highlighted last week when you were gone on one of your numerous forays into whatever you're doing. This is the time of year where we do have a couple of personnel over the weekend. Mm-hmm. So they come in not for entire Saturday or Sunday, but just to ensure that the village is upkept, garbage cans overflowing, mm-hmm. tree limbs broken, traffic snarls, just to help our other colleagues, and mostly in police. So thank you, Public Works. Mm-hmm. We're very grateful for you. We'll talk about the June council meetings, and that's June 2nd and 3rd. It's a Monday-Tuesday combo next week, I think. But the majority of the work on Tuesday the 3rd will be the budget. So the budget adoption hearings. As we talk about, we are required to have a balanced budget by the end of our fiscal year, which is June 30th. So I think we're doing a good job. It was a great discussion, a really fantastic discussion with council on Wednesday afternoon, started at 3:30, and that video is available online, and so you can take a look at that. And then what else do I have? So thanks. And then this afternoon, so NASA actually invited us to a conference at Asilomar, and it's a conference on estimating the circulation and climate of the ocean. They saw our climate action and climate adaptation plan. We're working on sea level rise studies right now for the village, Carmel Beach. And so they actually came, and these are pretty hardcore scientists, and they asked us to come and talk about how, from the applicator standpoint, from the practitioner standpoint, what we're doing to address this very, very important issue. That's so Mr. Cool. Barron, who has spearheaded our efforts for the mm-hmm. last several years, will be making an introduction, and then Val and Mary from our Public Works Department will be giving a short presentation. And these are all big-brained, very detail-oriented scientists, PhDs and postdocs, at Asilomar. So thank you for doing what you're doing. I'll be there as well. Ken and I will be there, mostly listening, obviously, because I have no idea what they're talking about. The scientists, I know what we're doing. But that's what I got, buddy. What do you have?
That's great. Well, congratulations to everybody on that. One quick thanks. You mentioned the budget meeting on Tuesday. Monday, we did a housing element review with the joint meeting of the City Council of the Planning Commission. Actually, that was Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
And then budget was Wednesday. It all blends together this week. But I just want to thank everybody, the AHA resident group, city staff, the boards and commissions, everyone who's played a role in this, every community member, whether you're on the AHA or not, that's participated and given feedback along the way for this amendment. We're in really good shape. Still a little bit more work to do. We're going to get some feedback from the state now and then repackage it for the formal amendment. But I think based on the feedback from the Planning Commission and the City Council, we're in really good shape. So that'll be
that's great. Congratulations.
Going across the finish line pretty soon, I think.
And let me just reinforce that local government is meant to be a team sport.
Yep.
So yeah, just not enough thanks to our staff, our professional staff, members of the public who contribute wonderfully in everything that we do, and obviously our decision makers who provide guidance and leadership.
Absolutely. We're closed Monday.
Yes, sir.
So we'll still have, police, fire, all that stuff. And as you mentioned, we'll have some public works presence to make sure that the village is staying clean. But for all intents and purposes, City Hall is closed on Monday. We'll be back Tuesday.
You didn't say intensive, right? You said intense?
Intense? I don't hit the T very hard. And purposes. Thank you for that, Chip.
No, you're good.
Last thing, trivia pop quiz for you. So we all know our big top 3 revenue sources. This year they add up to about $30 million, which is pretty impressive. We have other revenue sources here too. They're not nearly as big, but they're kind of interesting. We have charges for services. It's about $3 million. That's planning permits, building permits, all the permitting that we do, the services we do. We have those are user-based fees. Yeah.
That's a fee for a service that you're requesting.
We don't make money on them.
Correct. We're not permitted to make money.
Legally, yeah, that's right. These are just paying for the services we're providing.
Correct.
But those are part of our revenue sources. And we have something called other revenue, very creative. That has to do with like business licenses, vehicle license fees. Believe it or not, we actually get revenue from that. Franchise fees and things like that. And that all adds up to about $3 million too.
It's a lot of money.
It is. It's nothing to sneeze at. So what would you guess if you had to, and you didn't already know the answer, 10 years ago?
18.6.
Amazing. 10 years ago, our projected revenue for the FY 2015-2016 budget was $18.6 million.
It's incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
Doubled. Basically doubled in 10 years, a decade.
It's unbelievable. So,
and what's interesting is our population. So I can remember, I know you hate my stupid stories, but I can remember when I was here in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, when our budget eclipsed $10 million. And as a young professional, I couldn't get my head around 1 square mile. And again, we had probably 4,200 residents at that point in time. How a 1 square mile village could have a budget in excess of $10 million.
Yeah.
And we're more than 3.5 times that today. And our resident population has gone down 1,000 people at least.
And the reason I talk about revenues is not to say, we have a bunch of money, we're doing great, and we're doing fine. But the reason we need all these revenues is to provide the services on the back end.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the budget is all about, is understanding how much money we're taking in and how many services we can provide the people that live and visit here. We've got, roughly $32 million of operating expenses and about $8 million of capital work planned. So that gets us to about a $40 million budget this year. Which is really amazing based on what you just told us about the history of that. So,
yeah, and I think that, you hit on something. This council is very focused on capital work, and you may have read an article about other jurisdictions who have a deficit in their infrastructure maintenance. So we're not an anomaly by any stretch of the imagination, and hopefully we're going to be able to provide the council with our overall infrastructure deficit in the next couple of weeks with Ken here. We know that for the studies that we have done, it's about $34 million, and that's for buildings and our storm drain system and our pavement. But what about the staircases and the revetments and the seawalls at the beach? What about our other systems that unfortunately we've not put the amount of love into that we should have over the last 108 years, 109 years?
So yeah, I thought that was really interesting to look at the history of where we were about 10 years ago with our budget, and just remind people that the revenues, those are used for services. That's really the most simple balancing of our budget, is revenues come in, services go out. Yeah, that's what we do here. We hear some people say we should run the city more like a business, but we're not a business. That's right.
Our investors are the residents, and they're the ones that we're designed to provide services for.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Well, I guess have a nice weekend.
Can you imagine how good this would have been if we had practiced?
Amazing.
Oh, listen, you've been neglecting my mother, so you better say hi to her.
Hi, Chip's mom.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
I love you.
Okay. And
take good care.